Chase, you said when you got to Clemson, you had a wonderful mentor.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Jeff Adelberg really took me under his wing. I never knew I'd be interested in plant propagate. It's the weirdest subject if you think about it, but he took me in and he taught me a lot about it and really invested in me more than any professor has, and very thankful for the time.
Well, one of the wonderful things is not only do you do traditional plants that we all like to use that are found in landscapes, but you really enjoy going out and taking advantage of some of the remarkable native plants y'all have on some of your property. And tell us what one of your favorites is.
Live oak is one of my favorites.
How in the world do you propagate a live oak?
It's such a hallmark with a lot of headaches. It's, I guess, the best way to describe it.
But so today you're not going to teach us about a live oak. You're going to show us some easier plants to propagate.
Yes, ma'am. Something a little easier for folks at home to work with.
Well, let's get started. So the first thing you need to kind of know where and what time of year to take the cutting, and you have a resource for that.
Yes, ma'am. So Dr. Michael Durr has written a book, The Manual of Woody Landscape Plants, and this is kind of like the Bible when it comes to propagation.
Okay.
It will teach you the nomenclature and methodology, and it also, in the back of it, gives you references to most every plant that you could think of, what time of year to propagate it, and what hormones you can use root it if you need hormones.
Okay, because some of them do and some of them don't.
Some plants don't need them.
Since you're talking about hormones, the most traditional one that people use is a very weak formulation, and I'm not sure it's really all that effective. It's just available as a powder almost in any garden store or box store.
Yes, ma'am. This usually, IBA is the active ingredient that we look at, and it is the synthetic version of auxin, which auxin is the naturally occurring plant hormone that deals with stem growth, with healing when the tree gets hurt, and with root. And this runs at about 0.1% IBA, and it works well with some herbaceous cuttings, but whenever you get into woody stuff, not so much.
So you've got something that you say is actually available not only to professionals like you, but we could find it as well.
Yes, ma'am. So this is an Iba Salt, and it breaks down in water, and this one actually requires you to mix it with a graduated cylinder or some other type of, I don't want to say precision, but get very close.
Is there an easier method?
There is an easier method for folks at home. You can actually get stuff like this in a tablet. And you can put it into the water, and it already tells you the specific concentration.
Right.
So say you look in the book and it says you want 10,000 parts per million for Magnolia, you could get a tablet, 10,000 parts per million.
Wow, how easy.
How about that?
And you don't have to use it all up that day, so it'll keep for a while.
Yes, ma'am. So you can store this in a dark closet, and you need to make sure to label it that way. Nobody comes there and takes a swig.
Okay, and this is about, you've got a company that, Hortus, is that a place we can go and find these?
Yes, ma'am. Hortus is the name of the company.
Okay, so we found from our book what time of year to take the cutting, hardwood or softwood or whatever, and then we've got to have a medium into which the plant is going to grow. What have you found to be a good medium?
So what I have here is 60% pine bark, 40% perlite.
Okay.
And it gives you a little bit more pore space.
And I'm going to kind of show people what that looks like, if that's okay. The perlite is the white expanded material. It's what expanded volcanic material, some kind of synthetic, and then the pine bark, of course, just that. But so this is going to drain well, but have air spaces?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but you've got that ready, and you already watered it in, and I just messed it up. I'm sorry. Okay, but that's ready to go. And then you've got two things that we're going to do, so let's start with this pretty one.
So here we have oak leaf hydrangea, and it's already coming out.
Yeah,
what a wonderful
great
plant.
native,
It is a great plant. So whenever we go and you can take just cuttings from the top of the plant. You can see this is the end of the stem right here. And what I look at is I want at least 3 nodes to be on the cutting. So we have here a node, we have here a node, and I guess all the way down here.
And that's where the leaves were, and you've already removed the leaves from these, but we can feel that they were there. So it's where the leaves were, and so that's very obvious.
Yes,
you've got 3 nodes, okay.
So I would go into this, and I would take an angular cutting right down here at the inner node.
Now why do you make it angular?
It gives a larger surface area for the contact with the chemical that we'll be using.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So we've simulated the chemical.
So then once you go in, some of the plants, I don't like to do it on herbaceous plants because the stems tend to rot, but if it's a little bit more woody like this, I like to go in and score it or wound it.
Okay.
And you just give a little scrape like that and expose the cambium on the plant.
Yes. Just more places for the root, those latent roots to initiate.
Yes, ma'am. So you go in, and I usually hold it in for an average of 8 seconds.
Okay.
Which we won't wait that long tonight, but pull it out. I'll kind of let it drip and dry in.
Okay.
and then go in, and we want to make a hole right here in our media, just a little divot.
Now, why are you doing that, rather than just sticking the plant in?
That way it doesn't tear up the bottom of the plant. The basal end of the plant can often be sensitive, and we're already beating it up, as you can see. So we want to make sure that it doesn't get torn up, getting pushed in, and also we don't want it rubbing the hormone off.
Oh, it might rub it off. Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
if we shoved it through that medium. So we've made the little hole, and we're just going to insert the stem of our plant.
So we're going to insert the stem of our plant. You just barely want to put it in there.
Okay.
And then you want to take the media, and you want to press into the stem, not down, but into the stem.
Okay, so move the soil in this medium horizontally and press it firmly, but not pack it in.
Yes, ma'am. That way you're not compacting, because when those new root primordia come out, they're going to be pretty weak, and they're going to need a place to go. And we've already done so much to it. We want to give it its best shot.
Now, so at this point, would you then water it?
No, ma'am. What we usually do is we usually mist. So if you see any type of propagation greenhouse, you'll see mist shooting out constantly. And since there's no roots, you can't water a cutting. So we're wanting to stop water from leaving the leaf.
Okay. All right, so we've got this one done, and we're going to do this once more so people can watch. And I think this is another thing most probably everyone has in their yard.
Yes, ma'am. So here we have a camellia. And this is a great plant to propagate this time of the year and get ahead of the disease that usually comes in during the warmer months. So
again, about 3 nodes back.
So we're going to go 1,
1, 2, 3.
We'll take our cut.
Okay.
And then I'm going to strip this lower leaf right here. So go ahead and pull it off, and don't worry about beating it up too much. And then I usually like to go in and hit some of these buds.
Just so we don't get too much stimulated new growth before the roots are there to support it.
Yeah, you really want to kind of stop the growth a little bit. And then once again, I'll wound the bottom.
Just in one little, great. Insert it in the hormone.
Yep, and we'll hold it in the hormone.
1 1000, 2 1000, 8 1000.
Yes,
okay. And if you want to, you could even make a hole with the leftover stem of the plant.
Of course, yeah.
So I will do that for you. I've opened an area, and we're going to insert it there.
I really encourage folks to experiment around with this stuff and don't just do what the book says. Have fun with it.
It works for you too.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, and then we've got 2 different, I'm sorry. So then you have a great way of caring for these if we don't have a misting greenhouse.
Yes, ma'am. So when I was a college student, back before I had my own greenhouse, I took a little Tupperware or a tote container, a plastic tote, and I put my media down the bottom of it, and I'd stick my cuttings into there, same as we did here.
And then how'd you cover it up?
So I'd take a thin sheet of plastic and put it over the top.
Oh, you mean like the plastic cover, and you put on stuff when you put it in the refrigerator?
Yes, ma'am. It was cheap. It was cheap. And
but
usually,
effective.
a couple times a day I'd go in and I'd take a mister and mist some water in there, and it held the humidity. And and it was a cheap greenhouse, but it worked.
And we don't put any fertilizer on.
No, ma'am, no fertilizer. Once the roots start coming out,
then
you can put a fertilizer on there.
Now these are odd-looking things. Tell us what these are.
So here we have what I consider to be one of my favorite native hollies. This is a possum haw, Ilex
decidua. One of the deciduous hollies that is so beautiful in the wintertime.
And they really,
the female.
Yes, ma'am. Yep. And they get to be a nice little understory tree. And those big red berries are very nice. But you can see this is a deeper container, and this is what we try to shoot for usually in propagation. The minimum you want to have in depth is 3.5 inches.
Okay.
But this gives a little bit more depth on the tree and encourages those roots to kind of go down and get a firm, deep root system instead of spiraling.
And this is just another version of the same thing.
It is. This is called a grow tube, and this is pretty much a different version of it.
And both these plants are native plants that are used in wetland reclamation, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, ma'am.
That's one of the things that you also get excited about.
It sure is.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so over here, you've got a way that we can see, because you've got to find out when it's ready that you can start moving it up and fertilizing it. So you've got to be sure it's rooted.
Right. So folks always wonder, do I just rip it out to see if it has roots? I mean, for me, it's like Christmas morning, so I always want to open them up to see what's going on. But really what we do is called the tug test, and you can just kind of tug and see if there's anything in there. And of course, these are very well rooted in, and I think I can probably open one up. And you can see that...
oh, gosh, I see roots all over,
Yeah, and these are very well rooted in.
See these white roots here? Very well. Ready to go. Be moved up to a 1 gallon, I guess.
So...
Now, how about this little juniper?
Now, this guy, we would come in and do a tug test on him as well, and it's not quite rooted, so
No,
you see how it kind of pulls out.
Yeah, nothing going on yet.
So, and juniper's pretty slow, so
Okay.
that's the best way you can go in and check your plants, and that
Okay.
way you don't tear up those new roots that are coming out.
Chase, this has just been wonderful to learn about this. I think to learn that we also can get a little bit stronger when have some more success. And that plastic tote that I was going to put my sweaters in once the cold weather's over, I think I now have another use for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for coming and telling us all this.
Thank you.